Hi guys, welcome back to Best Recapped Movie. In this episode, I will review the anticipated 2022 Indonesian horror film Satan's Slaves Communion, written and directed by Joko Anwar. The film is in the horror genre and tells the story of a cult that uses the dead as its slaves to achieve its goals. Spoilers ahead. The event began on April 17, 1955. At the film's beginning, Budiman is escorted by the police to an unknown location and recognizes one of the officers whose face is hidden. They pass several gravestones, and he realizes things are about to get serious. After reaching the destination, he meets the police major of Herokusuma. He is worried about something and shows him a mysterious and disturbing situation. Budiman strolls down the corridor, not knowing what he is about to witness. He sees dozens of corpses wrapped in shrouds inside a room, apparently bowing to a photo on the wall in the center. In his opinion, something sinister is coming. Hirokusuma says the incident should not be made public due to the international conference being held the next day. However, he wants the public to be informed somehow. He asks Budiman to document the incident as a fake newspaper or article so that some people will believe it happened. After that, the footprints of the corpses out of the grave attract their attention, along with the red berries used. It seems that the corpses are bowing to the photo of an evil woman. On April 15, 1984, we met the main character of Rini's story. Her boss offers Rini a university scholarship in Jakarta, and she hesitates to take it because she doesn't want to leave her family. She now lives in an apartment building and uses the elevator to go home. After some greetings from his neighbors, a young boy named Wisnu and his deaf mother walk into the corridor. Rini's brother, Bondi, is a teenager and has made some new friends, revealing that he thinks the rocks and pieces look like tombstones. Suddenly, his friend Ari's abusive father shows up and chastises Ari for not making dinner. He does not treat his family well. Tony, another of Rini's brothers, arrives on a bicycle at the building. At the same time, a girl named Tari, who has just arrived in this building, fights with Dino at the entrance of the building. Tony, who likes Tari, follows her to her house, and after they get to know each other, Tari gives him a radio to repair. At lunchtime, their father, Bari, returns home carrying a mysterious suitcase and locks the cabinet door. Bundy is upset about why they don't talk about their mother and little brother who suddenly disappeared. Still, according to Rini, many years have passed. She says they should be more worried about the flood because a new storm wave is coming, and the building is near the sea. She then announces that she will have to leave the family tomorrow due to her new job offer while the TV news warns of an impending rainstorm that will hit the area. Rini goes to take out the trash but finds all her neighbors looking extremely strange. They scare her by staring at her. A news report details 2,000 mysterious murders. The victims were mostly tattooed men and known criminals. Bondi sees Tony fixing the radio and asks if he's not afraid of them anymore. Rini, who is very scared, reaches home and decides to spend the night with her brothers. At the end of the night, the TV picture is cut off, and a scary and familiar picture appears on the TV. Wisnu also leaves the house to throw away the garbage. Debris gets stuck in the chamber, and sticks half of his body in the well to try to push it down. After he forces himself out, an evil voice calls him and asks him to open the door. Then, someone with a horrible face in his imagination scares him, dashes into his apartment, and escapes. Radio's voice can be heard frighteningly throughout the apartment. Budiman receives a box full of evidence about the fertility cult collected by Major Kazuma. The box contains strange trinkets, mysterious paintings, and pictures of people, including Rini's father. Photos of the building by the sea can also be seen. Rini prepares to leave the next day while several residents wait for the elevator. She finds an old family photo album and keeps it with her. A lady accidentally drops her coins on the floor, some fall into the gap under the elevator and attract the attention of several young girls. At home, Ari's father continues to harass the family. After a fight with his father, Ari runs away from home. His father starts chasing him, and Ari and his friend run away down the stairs. Wisnu and his mother enter the elevator with Tony's father, but Tari stops him when she sees Tony. After that, Ari's father also enters the elevator to reach Ari sooner. The elevator gets stuck, and the door opens on the bottom floor. The crowded elevator stops and starts shaking. Wisnu manages to escape through a small hole, but unfortunately, the others cannot. Ari's sister notices the elevator falling and gets out. The elevator falls to the ground, tragically killing the passengers and girls below. The families of the elevator victims buried their bodies and prepared them for burial. All the people inside the elevator died in this accident except Rini's father, who was the only one who survived this accident. All the bodies will remain in the building overnight, and the burial will occur tomorrow morning. Buddyman is trying to get to the apartments by bus, but none of the buses can go there because of flooding. He tells the driver that going to the apartment is a matter of life and death, and then learns about the elevator incident from someone at the bus stop. Still, he says that something much more terrible is about to happen. A person named Isted is a religious missionary who is one of the residents of the building and helps the families to wrap the dead. On the other hand, Tony hands over the radio he repaired to Tari. She listens to the radio, and after playing the song, she hears her voice saying that she cannot escape from her grave and is being tortured. She runs away from the house. Tony is outside, giving Tony the radio and asking him to get rid of it. After the death of his mother, Wisnu reveals to Rini that his abusive father died last year. He shows her a mysterious book he found and teaches his mother a secret language to communicate. Suddenly, the lights in the apartment turn off. Rini returns home to pick up the candle and finds her father asleep. She takes this opportunity and tries to open his mysterious suitcase but fails. The Ustaz goes to Tony and asks him to investigate the victims who have no family. Halfway through, the Ustaz says his back hurts and asks Tony to continue alone. Bondi and his friends try to leave the apartment but find the first floor flooded. They enter the neighborhood chief's apartment and see pictures of a cemetery in the apartment complex on the wall. Each photo is dated April 17, 29 years apart. They realize that today is April 16th. He and his friends don't know the exact implications of what they just discovered, but they know that something bad will happen when midnight strikes. Tony heads up to the 13th floor with some matches to investigate more victims. The atmosphere of the dark apartment complex is terrifying. He goes to Unit 1303, his matches go out one after another, and he tries to move the body because water dripping on his head. He is horrified by the scary faces of the corpses. After leaving the apartment, he runs into Dino, who asks Tony to climb through a hole in the wall and retrieve his mother's fork, which was in the other apartment, because his mother is very sensitive to household items. Tony returns the fork to Dino. He finds an old photo album containing photos of the fertility cult and a strange image of a priest named Ramanam and puts it in his pocket. Tari is alone in her apartment, and the terrible sound of thunder and storm is heard. A woman appears to be sitting behind him briefly and then disappears. After that, she confronts Ustaz and tells him that she feels possessed. Ustaz tells Tari to surrender to God and pray to escape this state completely. She goes to wash her face, and her room looks like a graveyard for a short time. In a very confusing scene, whenever she takes multiple bows, she seems transported to a hellish place and sees the shrouded dead surrounding her. She runs away from the house and meets Tony and Dino outside. Veena, Sister Ari, and her mother are on top of the body when suddenly a mysterious sound comes from outside the house. She follows the sound in the corridor and calls his mother, but she is no longer at home and has disappeared. After that, the elevator doors open, and he naively steps inside. Veena enters the elevator compartment and then sees the ghosts of her friends with horrible faces. And suddenly falls from a height and dies. Rini sneaks back into her apartment and tries to take her father's suitcase. She successfully takes the key from her sleeping father. Finally, she succeeds in taking the suitcase out of the house with great anxiety. She and Wisnu run into Tony, Tari, and Dino again. None of their homes are safe, so they go to Dino's. There, Tony first shows Rini the photo of Ramanam from the album that he took, which is very similar to the picture of their mother. Then, after a stage of effort, they open the bag. In this horrible scene, they see many severed fingers and run away. They realize that they are not safe with their father. Afterward, Rini and Tony look for their brother Bondi, and Dino tries to leave the compound with Tari. Elsewhere in the building, Bondi and his friends search the apartment units to find the stairs leading to the secret floor. Tony and Rini look for Bondi at Ari's apartment and see Vina enter the bathroom and disappear. They enter the bedroom and find that Ari's mother has committed suicide. Then Bondi and his friends find an open apartment. Bondi realizes that the person sitting on the chair is his little lost brother, Ian. He sits alone and seems to have been waiting for him. Rini and Wisnu also join them and are horrified to see him. Rini asks Ian what he already remembers. All he remembers is that he was asleep, and when he woke up, he was sitting on a chair. Bondi thinks Ian is evil, but Rini still loves her little brother and takes him with her. At the same time, all the dead bodies in the building come alive and wander around the building. Dino tries to cross the water to leave the building, but according to Tari, the water is electrified and dangerous to swim in. They will be killed if they enter the water, so she leaves. After Tess, Dino also regrets and goes up the stairs, but there he sees a ghost in a white cloth. He throws the shroud into the water, but the blanket turns towards him, and he sees Ramanam under the cover. He immediately fell on a fork inside the boat and was killed. Tari goes after the others to find them but sees the dead bodies and runs away, meeting Ustez on his way. She tries to tell Ustez what she saw. Ustez, who does not believe in fear, investigates the staircase. A little later, Tari hears a scary sound and sees that Ustez has become horrible. She escapes into the trash can. There, he sees a corpse from whose mouth a child is born. She gets scared and dies as she had imagined. The group confronts their father while Rini no longer trusts him. He thinks he can explain everything. Bari is the Indonesian serial killer responsible for thousands of sniper killings nationwide. He reveals that he forced their mother to join the fertility cult and make a deal with Ramanam. He says that everything he has done up to this point has been to protect them. He sees Ian and tries to hit him with his cane. The group splits up, and the building is filled with the corpses and limbs of cult members as it looks like a ceremony is about to take place. Rini falls to the ground and blinks. Ian appears to be leading a group of cult members, and on the other hand, Bondi and Tony are kneeling on the floor with their father. Ian forces a leaf into Rini's mouth. This plant makes her wake up in another world. She wakes up in a lovely home and goes to college as if nothing happened. The professor says she got the highest grade, which makes her happy. She insists she can have anything she wants if she stays here and forgets his family. Rini regains consciousness and manages to snap out of it with a scream. She is supposed to witness the brutal killing of her father, with all her organs tied to horses. Before his death, his father says that he loves them all. Tony is next. Suddenly, Buddyman arrives just in time to save Rini. He shoots at Ramanam and uses a strange device to push Ramanam away. Ian tries to order the cult to attack them, but Rini goes and hits him with a stick. With Buddyman's help, they manage to get to the exit. They board a boat and eventually escape from the building, now surrounded by high water. Then, on the Buddyman's boat, he explains that her father tried to make their mother a member of the Ramanam sect to have a child. When he tried to cancel the deal with Ramanam, it cost him a lot, and he had to kill thousands. Buddyman says a much more sinister agenda is on the way. Then, a woman and her husband, the person at the bus stop, arrive at the apartment complex where the woman says they should have been last night. The couple dance as the camera zooms in on a photo of them attending the 1955 Bandung conference. This shows that whatever their mysterious plan is, they can manipulate politics and the outcome of international events. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel.